the list to be on the list to get a vaccine.
It's just the most convoluted thing on the planet. You just came out of your mouth. I'm on the list to be on the list. You're what?
Yeah, with the pokey sticks.
So, welcome to the Northern Knits Podcast. This is episode 214, the second, where we once again tried to record a knitting podcast. My name is Jocelyn. My co-host is
Diana.
I currently call Winnipeg, Manitoba home, and Diana calls Waterloo, Ontario home. In theory, we are two friends in fibre who talk knitting, crochet, crafting, and all the nerdy things in between that catches our eyes, and celebrate milestones like 500 subscribers, which involved the purchase of fancy donuts.
Aw, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Unfortunately, this is the day after the day we ordered fancy donuts, so I have the box and 2 donuts left, and Diana ate hers.
I ate my donuts.
Probably also didn't order half a dozen.
No, I only ordered 4.
I ordered 6. I'm one human.
I ordered 4 and shared them. Because normally I order 6 for 2 of us, and that just ends up being a lot of donuts. And we also had the sourdough club arrive this weekend, so we had cookies and cinnamon buns, so I figured I didn't need that many donuts.
No, I needed
I
the
thought
donuts.
about it.
But this is the second blueberry lemon peel with a bite taken out of it now. Just as good as the first one. Just as good a day later. So thanks, Oh Donuts. Both me and the Prime Minister of Canada, we have good tastes. Do you remember that thing? Everybody was grumpy. Why did he order fancy donuts? Well, he was in Winnipeg. I'm like, I know, he supported a local business.
Because I just like
the worst
because he wanted
person
fancy
ever.
donuts.
'Cause he wanted-
Jeez,
God, you know, if Tim
donut
Hortons
gate.
made
Jeez.
if Tim Hortons made good donuts, sure, they make decent donuts, but really?
They're perfectly serviceable donuts, but I mean, why not support a small local business when you're in the city?
I choose to support local whenever I can, and I like being a donut snob.
My fancy donut, which I ate while we recorded this the first time.
I'm sorry, guys, that was all me. I had some bad audio.
The audio was just...
It was bad.
Okay.
It was bad.
But I had some kind of like honey pollen toffee honeycomb crunch donut. I don't actually know what it was called. It had like honeycomb and bee pollen on it. It was fancy. It's the thumbnail. It was delicious. Tonight I have no donuts.
What my donut's called.
It was probably called like bee's knees or something cute like that.
Bright side is I did change my beverage out. For it is now Monday the 3rd, and I have to edit this right after we're done, and it's already evening, so I'm having real caffeine today, guys.
I have done no such thing.
Well, it's because you can go to sleep after this.
It's true. Well, I only slept like 4 hours last night. Insomnia is great.
As a person who also suffers from this, I say, no, it's not. From my dad, because if you think I know a guy, my dad is who I get that from, has a buddy who lives in Kenya who sends him tea. So he sent some to me. So I have Kenyan's version of basic black tea. This is their Tetley orange peacock, their rose, whatever. Because I can't drink that rose, whatever the rose tea is.
Red rose?
I can't drink any of that. All of it makes me sick. Hey, someone's coming downstairs. It might be one of those nights. There is so much movement going on upstairs, guys. I think my sister and Chris are here right now.
Checking out the renovations?
Picking up their birds.
Oh, yes.
Because we start painting tomorrow.
Right.
And they can't be in houses that are, paint fumes.
Paint fumes.
Kill them.
Yeah. Very important.
Donut.
I guess I could say what we're going to cover again today.
Well, I'm going to be classy and eat a donut, so it's probably best you did that.
Okay. Today we've got What's in Our Cup, Cool Threads, Woolly Workings, Wool Gathering, and Kniterature. We kind of already talked about what's in our cup. I'm drinking some basic lemon ginger herbal tea because I want to actually sleep tonight, maybe.
Meh.
That'd be cool.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When I fall asleep, it's going to be hard. It's going to be for a long time.
I'm irritatingly nocturnal. I've been a zombie all day, but now as it gets later towards night, my body's like, ah, yeah, nighttime, let's go. And I'm like, no, let's go to sleep.
That's not how that works.
So being a night owl in a world that rewards morning people does not work out well.
Well,
I can fake it, but it is not my natural state.
if it makes you feel better, it's going to be really hard for me to stay up late because I'm naturally a morning person. So it's going to suck on both ends for us.
Okay, well, as long as I know you're suffering too. No.
Glad to help.
I'm really tired. I'm going to be really weird today.
I had vampires take my blood. And I got to pee in a cup. It's been a grade A day today.
Just sounds
visits.
like.
Yeah, it's normal testing stuff for me. And boy, they like it when you show up on a regular basis. It was only 4 vials, so it wasn't even that much today.
You know, just 4 vials. It's fine.
Sometimes they take 10.
That's a
know.
lot. That's a full blood donation.
I need to have a cookie after that. So I traveled there with snacks because I know better. I need to have a cookie and some sugar before I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I don't mind that part. I don't even mind the awkward part of having to go to the bathroom in a cup. The part that I don't like is the blood pressure cuff.
Really?
That just it hurts. Guys, I'm tattooed. I have many tattoos, so obviously needles are not a thing that bothers me. But that blood pressure cuff, just like my fingertips ache for an hour afterwards. Just drives me. People are like, Dawson, you're insane. It's just a blood pressure cuff. Sometimes it bruises. I'll know tomorrow if I've got fake bruises in the form of a blood pressure cuff around my arm.
Wow. Okay. Maybe your doctor's just overly aggressive with checking your blood pressure.
I always kind of thought it was because my blood pressure is always really low. So like that cuff has to get really inflated to be able to take my blood pressure.
Could be.
Yeah. So I always just assumed it was that way because my mom's like, oh, well, it doesn't inflate that much for me. And I'm like, well, she's got high blood pressure. So
that, okay. Could be something to that. All right, let's get this rambling train on the road.
It could just be because that's the part I'm a baby about, and everyone's a baby about something. And that's mine. Who knows? All right. I finished consuming a donut. I'm gonna blow my nose because a lot of this gets cut. Holy lemon peel, Batman.
I'm awake. If I keep saying it, it'll be true eventually.
Sure, when we're done.
Yeah, no.
And you have to go to bed.
It's the most annoying part because I know that's how it's going to happen.
Yep. Sucks balls. Sucks baloney butts. Yeah, I pushed record ages ago.
Yep.
It would be one of those days for me to do that to myself. We have cool threads because I went places, not just the doctor's office today. Which I didn't wear any cool threads for because it was almost 10 degrees outside. So I wanted something super lightweight because I get hot. But it's too cold not to have a coat, but it's too warm to have a coat, you know?
That irritating temperature, yeah.
Yeah, I was in that range. However, on Friday, I did some apartment viewing. So while I was doing that, I wore my habanero with my Find Your Fate shawl. So I got to look all sorts of hand-knitted goodness in leggings, in my Sketcher sneakers, my Sketcher ballerina sneakers, jumping in and out of my dad's truck. Because I have to take a spare set of eyeballs with me when I go to view apartments.
That makes sense.
To see things like electrical plugs.
It's important.
Useful pieces of information. And I don't know if they're there or not. Unless I'm like on my hands and knees crawling around on the floor right next to the wall, which I'm not going to do when I'm viewing apartments.
No, that seems a little overkill.
That's a little intense even for me. I could have taken my band-aid off ages ago. So that's it. That's what I went and did. Ew, that tape likes to stick. Holy Hannah.
I know, right? Those
That
things
was
always
secure.
sticks. Yeah.
Whew, okay. Good thing I don't have any hair there. Duh, that would have hurt.
Well, even if you did, you don't now.
I wouldn't anymore. So
It's gotta suck so much for guys.
I don't even want to think about it because that just hurts to think about for me, never mind for them. And it's not like I shave my arms or anything. I have hair on them. I just don't have hair in my elbow.
Makes sense.
So who knows? Anyway, I got us distracted again because this is after dinner recording, people. However, it's I love my habanero. So like I know I need to make another. So bad. But that was what I did, and that was the perfect weather because it was like 12 degrees. It's like that 12-13 degrees marker, that nice lightweight cardigan, and then the Find Your Fade, which is like massive shawl, was perfect. Kept me warm outside, wasn't too hot inside. Excellent. Oh, so good. Also, apartment shopping blows. It is not my favorite task.
Hey, you know what I just realized?
Yeah.
We talked about having donuts. We didn't talk about why we had donuts.
I think I mentioned it, didn't I?
I don't know. I'm so tired.
Hey, in case I didn't mention it, future editing Jocelyn will have left all this little bramble in because it's hilarious. We reached 500 subscribers on YouTube, guys. That's why I have donuts.
I mean, it's the title of the episode, but
just in case.
You know, just in case.
Just in case.
We had 500 subs on YouTube.
What was that?
I'm so tired. 4 hours of sleep. And it's 9 o'clock.
Hey, I mean,
tired.
By the time when we did our cast on live stream on Saturday, I had 5 hours the night before. So like I was almost human. 5 or 6 hours?
Almost.
Almost human. I seem to do okay. Ish. Okay-ish.
No, you did fine.
Oh, goodness. All right. Shall we talk about things that we are working on?
Yeah. This is the part where we said, everybody, stop what you're drinking. Everybody sit down. We had the same number of projects.
That number is
5.
It is very rare that you have that many projects on the go to talk about in 1 week.
The castonitis is strong.
Well, apparently. Listen, I was Ravelry hunting before we started recording, so we all know what's happening.
Cast on more things. Cast on more things.
Got a scratch and it's itchy. Don't tell me not to scratch it. You know I'm not going to listen to it.
Do as I say, not as I do.
None of us do. None of us listen to that. It's still practical advice. It's not going to change my behavior patterns. All right, I will get us going because nothing says joy like Jocelyn going first. And I will endeavor to remember that I don't have to do multiple items. We'll see how that goes. All right, I connected a front panel to a back panel on this crocheted cardigan I'm designing. Look at that stripe work. Just look at it. So good. And there's an armhole. Now, the front panel worked out great. The prep for the shoulder worked out great. The shaping of the shoulder, not so great. So I went, okay, pulled it out. That's our first design snag. And then I went, this back piece, starting to look a little bit big. It looks big, but to me, the back piece always looks huge. As I don't think my back is as large as it is. That's just how that works. Put it on. This back piece is too big. So I've got too much positive ease in the back piece. So I have got to unsew my front panel to my back panel. And then I need to rip my back out and do it again smaller. Because a fitted cardigan should be fitted.
We're quite going for the drop shoulder look?
Definitely not the drop shoulder look. This is definitely a 0 ease to like 2 inches positive ease, depending on what size you pick. A long cardigan. I wanted a long semi-fitted cardigan. That was my goal. So it's necessitated some extra things. However, as Diana yawns, poor Diana.
Sorry.
The thing
I'm
is, when we're
trying.
done, she will actually just wake up and then be awake for hours.
I know. It's the worst
It's the worst
part.
part.
Like 11 o'clock will roll around and be like, oh, I'm so awake now.
Yeah. So my front panel's great and it fits me fine, but you can see I've got too much in my back panel. So I don't know what I was doing with my math, but my math is wrong between my front and my back panels. But my front
So it's a
panel
little.
fits perfect. So I gotta go fix my math.
Yep. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Oopsies. On the bright side, this Briggs and Little that I'm making this out of rips great. Has no problem doing it and functions beautifully. So I have some many skeins because it's crocheted of Heritage, which is a worsted weight Briggs and Little yarn in a country rose color and in a dark gray color. And oh my god, these are so pretty.
I'm so excited for this whole cardigan. It's going to be so cute.
I know when I put it on and I fitted it on my shoulders and I realized the length was absolutely like spot on. The front panel was spot on. I didn't even care that the back was too big. I'm like, really? If the only design issues I've run across is I need to do my shoulder start again and a little bit differently, and I need to re-crochet my back, oh no. And adjust my numbers. This is going to be like the smoothest pattern I've ever made.
All right. I guess I can talk about the cardigan that I am crocheting because you crochet all these lovely cardigans and I went, hey, I want to make one too. And then Jocelyn showed me one a couple weeks back when we were done recording.
Ooh.
And yeah, like 3 hours later, I was casting on that cardigan. So the winter patchwork cardigan. Hey, I have it open in a tab here.
I opened it up earlier today to read it. But what's its actual pattern name? I was going to go look.
Crochet Patchwork Winter Cardigan. It is a free pattern on the blog Crochet with Carrie. It'll be linked in the show notes.
You can find show notes at our website, which is northernknitspodcast.com, as Diana puts a link in the Dropbox for you guys down below, or the doobly-doo, as we call it.
Yeah.
And
do you remember?
And we're going to make sure that the link isn't broken this week.
I'm going to paste a whole link, not half a link.
Oopsies, we fixed that.
Yeah, we're good.
Do I remember?
In the very, very early days of YouTube, I seem to recall the doobly-doo being like over there, or maybe over there. I'm not sure which side I end up on.
What I super appreciate and love is that because you're never entirely sure when you're recording, because sometimes you're flipped, sometimes you're not, and it's always, and you don't always know where things are going to pop up. Things could show up anywhere. Like iCards are somewhere along the top. They're somewhere.
They're in one of these corners.
The description box is down below.
I can point that way.
Down below, but like everything else orientation wise over like
it's somewhere.
they occur in some formation around the screen. Yeah, no, and they change because YouTube updates as a platform. So it's weird.
Anyway, it's distracted by a doobly-doo.
As always.
What was I saying? Crochet Patchwork Cardigan. It is a cardigan that's based on the concept of Harry Styles' cardigan from that like giant colorful patchwork. I'm going to say it's tacky. I'm not going to say it's ugly, but it's like bright and like gaudy and kind of tacky. But if that's your thing, go for it. Her version is crocheted and monochrome. Wow. Single color.
It's one color.
One color.
It's one color.
Monochrome.
Monochrome? Okay. It's going to be one of those episodes. I gotcha.
That really is.
I gotcha.
And then she varies all the different squares with the different textures. So it's different tiles of texture instead of tiles of color.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm doing it out of Karen Big Cakes, so it's a gradient yarn. So my squares are all ending up to be slightly different but coordinating colors that are not overly loud altogether. And some of my squares are like multiple colors, just fine. We've got the half double crochet pattern. There's 4 different kinds of pattern. So there's the half double crochet, which those all are. There's a griddle square, which is single and double crochets for a slightly different sort of a texture. There's the dreaded berry stitch, bobble stitch, whatever. It's referred to as two different things in the pattern, so call it what you will. But there's this thing that I only need 7 of, which is great because this takes forever to crochet because of all those silly little baubles. So I only need to make 1 more of these,
Okay.
and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah.
There's a basket weave square, which I quite like. I find it quite fun to do, and I really like the texture. It's very nice.
My pillow cover that I crocheted is the basket weave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice
It's
stitch.
really nice. It looks way more complicated than it is to do.
Oh yeah, it's one of those ones that just flows. Like once you get the pattern repeat, you're like, oh, I could do this for days.
That is all of the different patterns. I believe we counted yesterday and I had 23 squares.
Yes. Yeah.
When we did this. I'm not going to do that again because I threw them everywhere and yeah, that's a mess and a mistake. So I'm not going to do that again. But I have 23 of these squares. And yes, I know 27 is half of 54. I mathed wrong. No, I spoke the wrong number. I mathed right in my head. I spoke the wrong number.
Listen, how long did it take us to figure out the difference between a button and a knot?
We're a little bit slow some days. I have a degree in computers, computer science. What was I saying? Okay, so 23, which is not quite 27, but I'm almost halfway.
Okay.
I had to slow down because I was so gung-ho about it that I crocheted nearly half a cardigan in 4 days, and that kind of murdered my wrist a little bit, so I had to slow down on that and, you know, intersperse some knitting on various sizes of needles to, like, not kill my wrist totally.
You can't really go from not crocheting anything for a while to crocheting for like 8 hours.
Yeah,
that's a bit of a stressor.
It was a lot. It was
a bit of a stress. You're usually supposed to incrementally increase your time spent doing those things.
Yeah. So the colors I'm using, this first ball is, it was pistachio macaron, which has, it's blue and gray and has this like greeny yellow that I was pointing out yesterday. I quite like the color, but it's not so good on my skin tone. So I'm doing, I'm just all going through the 4 different types of squares that I need. Because I need different numbers of each of the types of squares.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I'm doing them evenly in this color so that I can intersperse the color that looks bad next to my face lower down in the cardigan. So that my second ball, which is just blue macaron, which is blues and grays, I can save that for the collar part that's up near my face.
Okay, yeah.
So I can keep the greeny, yellowy, mustardy color away from my face because I really like it. It doesn't like me so much. So we'll just keep that away and we'll keep the nice color next to my face. And then
I think you
everything
might
will be
find,
great.
Because you do a band, you might find that you can pull that pistachio like all the way up because you'll have that band in between.
Possibly.
And that might be okay. I
yeah.
mean, you'll know once you start placing them together how close up you can get.
Yeah, so the fun thing about doing it in squares is you can lay it all out and like organize it however you want and get all the colors wherever and textures however you want them. So that will be a very fun step, and pictures of that will definitely turn up on Instagram. So I want it like this or like this. And like I've had this cardigan lying on my floor for 3 days as I trip on it, and I should really just sew it together.
Take an Instagram poll. The internet will give you the answer.
The internet will give me the answer.
Or they'll give you a answer.
And it will become the answer after I execute it.
That's usually how that works.
All right, that's my cardigan. It's your turn.
Background noise brought to you by men.
Men with power tools.
Men with power tools. And kitchen renovations. Do they know I'm re-recording? Yes. I told them 3 times.
I mean, we don't get perfect audio right now. It's not a thing we get.
It's just, this is how it is, people. All right, so I picked up, my only saving grace is they both go to bed at 9. I finally picked up my February Sock Club yarn socks, which are Fireweed Fiber Co's February colorway called Whiskey Jack. This is inside out, guys, because I knit backwards and inside out. And I finally put the heel on. Look at this doinky little heel. Oh, it
looks very squishy.
It is. It's a garter stitch mock short row heel, which is my current favorite heel. Will that change at some point? Probably. very, very not. I don't stick to the same thing all the time, unless it is vanilla socks. Because boy, do I love a vanilla sock. So I have miles of knitting to go until I'm done my foot. Like miles of knitting to go before I am done my foot.
Miles to go before I sleep. Miles to go before I sleep.
Yes. Well, hopefully you don't have miles to go before you sleep. So slow progress gets made. This is the first sock. I had initially casted the sock on during the Fiber Friends 3-day Easter long sock challenge. And I did them originally in the cranberry sauce pattern. And then I accidentally dropped a whole side of stitches, which if you guys know me means I have to start again because I can't see the stitches at the size. So I pulled it out. I couldn't bring myself to restart the cranberry sauce pattern. I was so bad. I was so bad about it. I couldn't do it. Wasn't happening. Still
Nope.
love the cranberry sauce pattern. Still gonna make it. Just not happening in this colorway. So this is just becoming a pair of vanilla socks. And that's how that's going to work for me. They live in my wonderfully derpy, muted 60s flower palette colorway. No, really, I have no idea what they're doing upstairs. I thought they were sanding and painting, getting ready to paint.
That's a lot of banging for sanding.
I give up. I give up.
Maybe it's like in a video game where to do anything, you just walk over and hit it with a hammer, and then the thing that you were trying to do is done. Like in Age of Empires, I want to plant a field. Bang, bang, bang. Hey, look, it's a field.
What? Like, I do understand that's how that works. It still makes my brain go, what?
Or like, bang,
on the
bang.
bright side, I get to go back to you.
Socks. Yes, I have socks.
I'm good.
Yep. Oh, I am a smart individual with a good memory, just not today.
You should have had some sugar.
Oh, maybe.
Yawning is catching even through the internet.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. Okay, stop being tangled. I am also doing socks. What was our discussion the other day about how did the socks always get tangled with the yarn and the
Yeah, because every time you
I
pull
don't
it
know.
out of the bag, the ball gets stuck through the magic loop part of the magic loop on your thread.
I also have it to do like some kind of figure eight thing between the two needles, like it's trying to do a
That's happened.
Judy's magic cast on all on its own.
Yep. Yeah, and I was like, dude,
I didn't even put this in a bag. I literally put it in the corner of my desk because it's my meeting sock.
I left you
just
all nice.
Yeah.
I put you away nicely. Now, if I'd hucked you down, then yeah, it'd be a problem.
Anyway, so I also am doing socks out of the February colorway from Fireweed Fiber Co., which is Whiskey Jack.
Yeah.
I'm using the Jack pattern from Sunflower Knits. We had this discussion yesterday. I still didn't look it up. Yeah, I should really look it up and remember it. But that's never going to happen because I will look it up and I won't remember it. So I put a progress keeper in, just sort of guesstimating because I had been putting a progress keeper in, but I think it's about that much last week.
Okay.
So I need to, I think, just finish the small cable repeat that I'm doing, and then I'm good to start the heel on this.
Ooh.
So these are coming along quite quickly, which is surprising given that I only pick them up during meetings. Honestly, like
it adds up. Every couple of minutes, it adds up.
Like, I'm engaged in these meetings. These are not boring meetings. I do need to be in these meetings, and I am saying and speaking things in these meetings. But also a sock is happening.
Yeah.
So I don't quite know how that works, but I quite like it.
Good.
All right, that was the boring sock update because I'm sure we all care so much about socks.
Oh. Don't make the sock knitters angry.
Sorry. I know, I just mean about like my personal socks, like, oh hey, I knit like 10 rows on a sock since last week versus like actual sock knitters are like, so I made 3 pairs of socks this week. And they're actually interesting.
There's a thing that goes on, it's called like sock palooza or sock
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
That's the one where it's intense. Like there's a qualifying round to get in on this, and
Whoa.
then you have to complete the pattern you're given and in an ever increasingly shortened time span. And only so many people from each round move on to the next round.
That's intense.
It's intense knitting. I'm like, I'm not prepared for that level of sock knitting. I would not make it past the qualifying round, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I feel like I will be at the pinnacle of my sock knitting career when I actually get a pair of socks done in a month. Life goals.
Yeah.
Actually getting a pair of socks done in a month.
I can do a sock in a week. That's no problem. It's getting
The
2 socks
pair
done
Yeah, that's
in
the
less than a month.
complication. Oh my goodness. All right. So Saturday, 2 days ago now, we did a live cast on party for the spring cleaning Cowl, which we're hosting. You guys are absolutely welcome to come join in on. We are doing a extra large project, so the big ones, the foreskin or more projects. Super cool. As always, the usual rules abide. Adult garments. After that, we give pretty free reign. You choose you. Me and Diana both went with Stephen West shawls. No particular reason. We just both wanted to do Stephen West shawls.
Is the biggest thing I had in my stash was a
Yep.
kit for a Stephen West shawl, so it
So
seemed perfect for spring cleaning.
it is. I finished the first little section of the Starflake shawl. Here's my first little star. And then I realized this is one of the few times that I am going to have technical problems because I knit backwards when I knit, because I knit right-handed patterns as is, even though I'm left-handed. I don't reverse anything. So my stuff's always backwards. You'll notice it in my color work goes the other way. And you know what? It doesn't matter that much. It still looks pretty when it's done. And in the case of shawls, 99% of the time it's not an issue. This is going to be an
might
issue.
Curve the other way.
Yeah,
sometimes.
my
Yeah.
curls go my bendy arrow goes the wrong bend, like it's the other way. It's
And
still
whatever.
a bendy arrow, whatever.
Yeah.
It's totally, it does not bother me in the slightest. This is going to bother me because how they have the pickup instructions listed, I would not have starflake points. I'd have a really pretty parallelogram going this way in all my colors.
Okay,
So,
that is a
like,
problem. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I need to fiddle with this. And what I think I might do now that I've thought about it for an additional day is I'm going to pull back my 3 stitches that I have here and do a full bind off, and then just start with a pickup in the right direction so that my points face the right way.
Okay.
Which adds a bit of extra work for me, but you know what? Will be the easiest way for my brain to wrap around, because once I've got all the stars laid out, when I do the pickup for the shawl, I will make sure that's picked up the correct way so that when I'm knitting, my shawl looks good when I'm finished.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can just go. But until I get to that point, it's gonna be a problem. Which is obviously not a problem with Stephen West pattern. It's just how my brain works and how I knit. So that's a thinky do, and now I'm done with the thinking, and now I can do the doing.
That was a lot of words. It took me a minute to process.
Anyway, Monster, you're up, and I don't know what we're talking about anymore. Where are we?
I was going to talk about my spring cleaning Cowl cast on.
Excellent.
Yeah. Okay. Specifically didn't start a new row so that I could just hold it up and talk about it.
Good call.
All right. So my biggest thing in my stash was a kit for the Moherino medley that I purchased on my honeymoon in May 2019. So almost exactly 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole story to that I talked about on the live. So if you would like to know the whole shenanigans about having passports and yarn and camera gear stolen in Europe, just watch the first 20 minutes or so of our live from last weekend. Yes, because this will go up on a Wednesday, so last weekend.
Yep.
And you'll get the whole 20-minute story. It's epic.
think the only thing we were missing is at the exact same time you were having the passport troubles, my grandmother was passing away.
Oh man, I forgot about
When neither one of us had a good week. You're like,
was-
my passport was stolen. I'm like, my grandmother's dying, or my grandmother had just died. And you were like, oh my God.
yeah, like, okay, so I won't bother you for reference phone calls in weird time zones.
I think I said it was fine if you needed something to help, because it's not like I had much to do to the funeral. There wasn't really anything for me to do till that point, but I was just like, oh, we're both having crappy days today.
Yours is worse. Yours is very much worse.
It's fine. It's a part
I
of
had
life.
an enormous inconvenience, but we got past it. So that
Good.
was the extent of mine.
That's important.
Anyway, so for all that fun, the live from last weekend. Anyway, Mohairino Medley is an enormous 5-skein behemoth of a shawl. Come on, focus on the shawl and not my face, please. There we go.
But it has all those really big holes.
I know. It's got stacks. It's beginning with stacks of double yarn overs. Is huge. And I'm always so impressed when I hold it up and I can actually see the striping of the two different colors.
Yes.
Because I can't see the striping very well when I'm knitting on it, but like from farther away, it's really apparent that there's striping.
That may be one of those misses the forest for the trees sort of situations.
Yeah, well, because like the colors blend really well close up, but like on camera, you can really see the stripes.
Good.
So this kit is all yarn from Walk Collection, which is in Germany, I believe. So my color A is Silex. It's this dark gray and like coppery bronze kind of color with a bit of white.
Yeah.
That is currently being garter striped with color B, which is Arctic Wolf, which is kind of whites and light grays and a little bit of the coppery bronze.
Okay.
So they blend really nicely, but also stripe nicely. It's a nice subtle stripe. I am halfway through section 1. It's the thing that I'm working on while recording yesterday and today, but the chevron-y bits are starting to become apparent.
Ooh,
And this
good.
enormous I-cord cast-on edge, which I hated doing, but I love the effect of, so I can't complain too loudly.
I think you can grumble. I think you can grumble, because that was a long cast on.
Such a long cast-on. It's
Long.
164 stitches.
It was a long cast on. It was a long cast on.
164 stitches.
Totally worth it, but oh man. Oh man.
It looks really great, and it is absolutely the right call, but oh my gosh, it's annoying to do. I'm glad we're past that.
I know that's how long that I-cord stitch cast on is. I still kind of want to make that shawl. And my brain is currently going, no, that I-cord. And I'm like, I know, but still.
But at least it doesn't like grow or shrink or have any weird shaping. It's
That's
just
what I'm thinking.
rectangular.
It just goes. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
it's
like
got
that.
chevrons. It's got chevron patterns. It's the extent of the shaping.
I do like that as a sort of side.
Also, this yarn is single ply merino, so it's just the squishiest, softest, most wonderful thing to work with, and it's bringing me great joy right now.
The squishiest, most softest.
The squishiest, most softest.
All right, I put a little bit of work in on my winter lights, which is my other Stephen Wish shawl that I'm currently working on. I'm currently working in the gray main color and my antique gold contrast color, which is my first contrast color. You guys may remember it from earlier up in the shawl. I did not make a ton of progress. I'm in the middle of the row. It's fine. Sometimes when you're on a hobby time and you think to yourself, I'm going to do some knitting while the boys do some Warhammer painting and we chat on Discord, it occurs to you that they'll help you count. And you shouldn't be working on this particular shawl. So you just put it down. Because you knows better. You knows better. So I have not made a ton of progress. Gotta figure out which way my ropes are going here. My yarn is all over the place. Well, it's technically rope.
I mean, I guess so.
The rope is just really thick yarn. Braided together. I dated a philosopher, guys. I can justify a lot of things I really shouldn't be able to in my mind. My tiny little reindeer? Sure, I'll call that a reindeer stitch marker. Marks the little bit of progress I made, so I'm out of one stripe, but I'm into the honeycomb section, which looks so pretty, and I've not even done my first honeycomb. Far more complex of a pattern compared to section 1 with these rays. I'm enjoying this a lot more, and it is like 4 times as complicated. Of course I am. Sure. That's my needles hitting my computer screen. That's a thing that's happening to me. So I don't, this shawl that I'm working on here is for the Modern Skeins West Knit Along, which I believe ends at the end of the month of May. So I have got 2 sections left to go and a month to do it in. We'll see how that works.
Because you have some other deadlines coming up, I think, don't you?
Do I ever? Oh boy. I do these to myself, so you know, that's how that works.
Is it my turn to talk about another thing?
Your go.
Okay. I believe last week while we were recording, I was working on the 8-bit sweater, and I had reattached the sleeves, and I had counted numerous times and was reasonably certain, tugging on my own cord, I was reasonably certain that everything was going to line up and I'd finally attached the sleeves properly the second time. And I have now completed the first row of the video game controller chart.
Yeah.
And yes, I have attached everything correctly. Everything lines up.
If you had to take back a second time, you would have cried.
Well, so I got all the way around the first row and I was 6 stitches off, and I'm like, oh my god, no, why? I was so careful. So I went all the way back and I looked so carefully because I have put little stitch markers after each pattern repeat so that I can check for mistakes.
That was like the smartest thing I've ever done when doing those charts, was to stick those progress creepers in.
Oh my, when you've got like lace or colorwork repeats, just putting a little stitch marker in every one. Because after you've established the pattern, if you get to a stitch marker and you're not done the pattern, or you finish the pattern early, you know you've gone wrong somewhere in that pattern, and you only have to look at like 20 stitches. It's so helpful.
Way easier.
Which is exactly what I did. I had to go back through each of the patterns and figure out where I'd screwed up by 6 stitches, and in the first third of the round, I'd screwed it up. So I had to think back like 2/3 of the round.
Oopsies.
But then I fixed it, and I got back around, and everything lines up and is perfect and beautiful. So yeah.
Good? You good?
Yep.
Okay.
So once again, for posterity, doing it out of knit picks. Wool of the Andes, which is a sport weight. The light color is oyster heather, and the dark color is midnight heather. This sweater is just so absurd. I love it.
So good.
I'm so excited to be finished so that it can be 30 degrees out and I won't be able to wear it, but I'm going to do it anyway.
I wonder if the 8-bit sweater would be the perfect jacket sweater for that in between too hot for a jacket, too cold for not a jacket.
Maybe.
Like
a pullover around the campfire sweater?
Well, in my case, cardigan pull-on to go walking sweater, but yes.
Yes, well, mine will be a pullover. Yeah. You're doing extra.
I'm steeking. It's a whole thing, guys. Might be.
Put that over there.
I'm very excited about this current idea. I just fed you. What do you want?
More attention, more food.
Stop hiding all day long.
But people are scary.
And I mean, to be fair, they throw empty cardboard boxes down the stairs for me to pack with. So, sometimes there's loud noises.
That would be very alarming.
And we're not a fan. Not a fan. All right. The last of the projects is the Simple Hug. Complete with creaky computer chair. For some sort of reason, no, I know why. I did a 2-week sweater off with Eloise from Wildflower and Wool, or the Fibre Friends podcast, depending on where you catch her. And we enjoyed it so much and enjoyed each other's company that we decided to do a monthly check-in to encourage us to, get stuff done.
It only counts if it's finished?
Well, I mean, it's not like either one of us are going to be mean about it if it's not finished. We'll be both be fine. So I decided my goal this time around was to get my Simple Hug done. So I was working on the body. So much body. So much body. We're done the proper length of the body, and to make my life super difficult, I've split for the sleeves and I'm doing my first front panel. Did I put the other two sections on waste yarn? No. Putting stuff on waste yarn is the bane of my existence. I absolutely hate picking up those stitches. I just put them on spare needles. And in the case of the simple hug, and this is my second simple hug, I know that I can knit the front panel and bind off, and knit the back panel and bind off, or knit the other front panel and bind off without having to take the other stitches off the needles. Because I've done it before.
You're just knitting a chunk of sweater and ignoring the rest of the chunk of sweater.
I am literally knitting a chunk of sweater and ignoring the rest of the sweater. Creating my armhole as I go.
Awesome.
So lazy. So okay with it. I've already moved my progress keeper up for the week. And it was way far down. We were I make some serious progress every week on this. I have to somehow by Thursday, noting that this is Monday night, finish this front panel, finish a second front panel, finish a back panel, and get 2 full sleeves done. Oh my God.
So still as pipe dream as yesterday?
Yeah. In fact, a bit more, because the chunk of time I would have gotten done, like I would have gotten work done on this, is what I would have been when editing.
Oh,
today.
yeah.
Because I can do simple knitting while editing, because a lot of it's listening for things I need to take out and smooth transitions and stuff. So I will be doing a bit of that tonight, but it won't quite be the extravaganza of knitting it needed to be today. So closer to pipe dream, farther from completion. See how I do. If I was making regular length sleeves, it'd be fine. But I, like the doink that I am, decided this one had to have full length sleeves. In ribbing.
In ribbing?
Yeah, it's ribbed sleeve.
Oh. Why did you do that to yourself?
Because I'm daft.
But you hate ribbing.
I really do.
We all know you hate ribbing. Why are you doing full-length ribbed sleeves?
Because it looks good.
Okay.
The same reason I'll remind you that you like the look of it. That's why you're doing eyelet lace whenever you pick up the King's Flame again.
Yes, that's true.
Yep.
And also I'm determined to do simple lace properly.
Yep. I am determined to figure out how to rib. It annoys me that I can't do it well.
It's the little things.
Oh, goodness. All right. Though, that means I'm out of knitting projects. How are you?
I have one more thing. Speaking of lace things.
Excellent.
And cast-on-itis.
When you have to reach so far on a screen that it's just your forehead, there's a lot of stuff going on your desk.
This really is. I've got the whole computer, I've got the tea, I've got the project and the project and the project and the project and the show notes.
Man,
on the project.
You guys could see my desk right now. I'm an L-shaped desk. It is all from one corner and then down this way. It is all stuff for the podcast. And I'm storing stuff behind me on the table.
All right. So I decided that I needed to cast on the Iris Cowl from Interweave Knits. Oh, spring 2019? Are you spring 2019?
I mean, I totally agree.
So it's this lacy cowl. You knit it in a tube and then graft the ends together. So it's just an infinity scarf, basically. And I can say this on here because my mom doesn't watch the podcast. She does look at our Instagram, so I can never say it on Instagram.
Got it.
But on the podcast, I can say it's a present for my mom for her birthday or Christmas, which are 2 weeks apart. So whenever it gets finished.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Is the holiday that it's for. Well, is the occasion that it's for.
That's okay. I was listening to the CBC radio morning program this morning, like I do. They're like, oh, enter our contest for a bouquet of flowers for Mother's Day. And my brain went, oh no, it's May. Mother's Day is coming up. Do.
Yeah, this is not a Mother's Day present. This is a Christmas present. This is a December present.
On the ball this year, you guys. How do I even?
It's, what is time?
Right now, and construct of my imagination. That's what time it is.
Yeah, what's that? What are days? What are times? I don't know.
What is life? Let's ask the
It's all the
serious questions.
same. What's the difference between this minute and the last one, really?
Not much these days.
Okay, so I cast on and knit 2 rows. This is not exciting.
Please tell me you at least put needles into the cart for the local yarn shop that you're going to buy stuff from.
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
So I need to get more circular needles because these are DPNs, and I do in fact still hate knitting on DPNs. It doesn't feel right. Like the flow is just off for me. I know lots of people like DPNs. They're just not my favorite method, but it's what I've got right now, so that's what I'm working with.
On the
And
bright
it
side,
means,
you confirmed you don't like DPN still.
yeah, it does break up the pattern repeats nicely, so I only need like 1 stitch marker between the pattern repeats on each needle, because otherwise the needle is the pattern break.
Yep.
And at the end of each pattern is it's a column of pearls, so if they're a little bit loose and weird, if laddering occurs, it doesn't matter. Because it's regular enough that it just doesn't matter.
Okay.
So I've got this ball of, wow, that glows on camera. Juniper Moon Farms Findley is the base, which is a lace weight 2-ply, 50% merino, 50% silk.
Okay.
So it's got this lovely sheen and it's very, very soft. So I think it
Absolutely.
is going to be amazing in this scarf thing.
Yes.
But it's going to take a while.
It's gonna take a
We got a
bit.
ways to go.
We got a ways to go.
Got a
That's totally
ways
fair.
to go. So I suspect that'll also just go in the pile of things that I casted on and knit for like an afternoon, and then they'll just sit there for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Because I haven't had a cast on itis in a long time, so you know what? I'm going to embrace it. Because it's about all the novelty I've got in my life right now. Like,
enjoy it.
I haven't seen a human that I don't live with in a little over 2 weeks now. So I'll take all the novelty I can get.
Is now the time to point out or not point out that I go months at a stretch without seeing humans unless I live with them?
Yeah, I don't know how you're still sane. It's been 2 weeks and I'm losing it.
Oh, you thought I started sane. You're so sweet.
Well, you come across very sane.
Excellent. What? Well, if we're done our knitting stuff, it's time for some wool gathering.
No, wool gathering. All right.
So that you can lie your head down and go to sleep.
All right. Once more with feeling as soon as I negotiate this double yarn over. Hang on. Okay. If you would like to financially support these shenanigans, and apparently people do, which blows my mind, and thank you very much. You can do so at our Patreon page, which is linked in the doobly-doo that we determined was down there.
Yes, we did.
Or it's linked in the show notes if you're listening to this on Spotify or wherever.
You seem to collect your podcastings.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to take over? I'm so tired. Any level of support is deeply appreciated and gets you access to our patrons only Discord, where we are active at all hours of the day and night because we span 2 sides of the Atlantic. What else? We have our weekly Experimental Tuesday blog posts, which reminds me I got a right mind that goes up tomorrow.
Yep.
You get early access to bonus content as that goes up.
Mm-hmm.
We have no particular schedule for bonus content. It is kind of when it happens, but you get it first. And then at the higher tiers of support, we have our monthly e-knittin, which is basically just a knitting club. We hang out and chat, and we get to hear about what all of you are knitting, which is lovely. It's nice.
So nice. So nice.
And people get to bully me into, working on my 8-bit or fixing the sleeve on that sweater that I fixed and have to refix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We enable so well. So well. I think we were helping you buy yarn too.
Yes. Last time we helped me buy yarn.
Good.
So the next time that's happening is on May the 22nd at noon Manitoba time, which is Central Daylight time. Yes. I'm awake.
Yes, it's Central Daylight Time right now.
I'm awake. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so. That's entirely possible. If it was, somebody will point it out for us, which I appreciate because we can't remember everything, people.
Can't remember anything right now.
That's how our brains work. As always, if you can't, we super understand. Budgets are a real life thing that we all have to live with these days, or any day, if we're honest. Just hitting a like button, commenting down below, subscribing to us, that all is also stupendously helpful. Help bring more people into the community. Let's make more people one of us. We have no nifty name for people who are Northern Knits podcast watchers. Maybe one day we'll think of one. We're not the best at wordage. We usually farm all of that out to the mysterious Mr. B and his brother, the Mr. Diana, because they're very good at it.
Mm-hmm.
It is their happy niche, and they're generally willing to help us do these sorts of things, which, we appreciate. We appreciate because I can't do it. When I'm left naming
Clever
things,
names.
when I'm left naming things, we end up with towns called Travisville. Okay, it's just not good. We don't let me do it for a reason. As always, there are other platforms you can find us on. We are on the Instagrams. We have a Facebook group. Still stunning to me that we have one of those. The answer to the question is don't forget to knit. Other than that, we are on Ravelry. We're not as active as we have ever been, because we've never been terribly active on Ravelry. When it's coming to upcoming Cowls and Inlogs, including the one that's currently running, we're taking them off Ravelry because we know a lot of people still have issues with them. So we do what we can. For the current running Cowl, we have the spring cleaning Cowl. You use the hashtag NKP. My goodness gracious, let's try that again. Use the hashtag NKP Spring Cleaning KAL on Instagram. Don't forget to tag us at Northern Knits Podcast. You can also drop down entries, comments, chatters, progresses that you're working on into the Facebook group as well if you don't use Instagram. So we split it up across 2 different platforms, but it is not on Ravelry. So if you go looking for it there, it's not there. That's just how this one's gonna run. For the spring cleaning Cowl, the only other important details that are really needed to know about it is it was a May 1st-ish start day.
I made a mistake. I have to take it back. That's why I'm making faces. I'm not
Okay.
making faces. I'm making faces at me.
Okay. We're always a big fan of the ish. It's gonna end 3 months from now, which is in July-ish. They're big projects. End date's a little flexible at this point in time, so we're gonna run it with that. Will we give away electronic patterns? Oh yeah, I mean that's gonna happen. Have I done it for the last Cowl we just finished? No, it's still sitting on my to-do list to do.
Yeah, well, you're trying to move, so
I'm also I'm trying to do way too much in one stretch at the moment, and I'm paying for it. So that's going on. This Thursday, which is tomorrow from your guys' time frame, you guys can see me live on Louise's channel of Wildflower and Wool at 7:30 Ontario time, which is 6:30 Manitoba time or Central Standard Time. It'll be our monthly check-in this Thursday. So that is all also going on right now. So much is going on. It's crazy. All right. My April yarn arrived from the sock club.
I can show mine too now.
Sock club yarn.
It's so pretty.
So good. Okay, so this is the red-breasted something.
Nuthatch.
Thank you. I remember the first 2 words. The last ones just float right out of my head. These are screaming to be a pair of socks. Mm-hmm. These are absolutely screaming to be a pair of socks. So
yeah, Mr. Diana has claimed this skein for his pair of socks, I think.
I have no Mr. Diana in my house, so I gotta make them for me. Haha.
But he likes the socks that the green stripy socks that I made him out of online Super Socky 4-Fatch. Yes, I know that's not how you say it.
I feel like I have to go buy some online Super Sucky 4-Fatch just because then I can have some.
But yeah, so he's like, I have a birthday coming up. Can I have some more socks? And I'm like, okay, yes.
Yes, you can.
He's very knitworthy.
I also got a surprise in the mail.
Yes.
hardcore surprise in the mail. I was not expecting
It was very
anything.
surprising.
I was like, what in the world is going on? I posted in the Discord. I said, which one of you people did this? You're the people with my address. I received 4 skeins of Holsgard. Look at them. Look at them. So pretty. I've always wanted to try Holstgard, so I am like freaking stoked about this, you guys. I got them in 4 different shades of purple. So I got these 2 shades of purple. And then I got another 2 shades of purple. I'm so excited to make a thing. Look at those. Look at those colors.
They're so pretty.
So good. So excited. This is the Super Soft, which is great. It was one of the 2 Holsgrons I wanted to try. So cannot wait till I can cast on some things and try it out. So happy. And
I'm excited. I'm so awake. Oh,
I know it's hard. It's
I'm awake with excitement.
Of course you are. She says with a completely deadpan voice.
Awake with excitement. So...
I'm excited about my yarn goodies.
Yeah. I am. I'm just lacking energy. They're very pretty. I'm so excited to see what those become.
We can move on to books.
Okay, books.
Can you do it? Are you ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Quick before I fall asleep.
I don't fall asleep while I'm okay. I had a very distracted reading week because I did. So I managed to finish the letters of Abelard and Eloise, which I was reading. It is a series of letters written between a 12th century abbot and abbess who used to be married and then were dedicated to the church and not married anymore. But they wrote to each other and they were confidants, and we have those letters, and it is super fascinating. So good. So I finished that, and then The Hold for the Hazelwood came up on the My Libby app, and I started listening to that, and it can't, for whatever reason, it's not keeping my focus. So like I'm returning it early. I'm going to call it a wash for now. I'll put it back on the maybe to read later pile. Maybe I'm just not in the mood for a young adult at the moment. Maybe. Who knows? So that I was fishing around for things to read. And I decided I was going to just go back and re-listen to Ken Follett's first book in the Kingsbridge series, which is, if you guys remember, I read book 2, and then I read book 3, and I read book 1 a really long time ago. So I went back and I re-listened to book 1. So I'm currently finishing up that one, which has worked to keep my attention. So apparently right now what I want to listen to is 900 plus page historical fictions.
Sure. Everybody has their comfort zone.
And apparently this is mine. It's still a very good series. I still really enjoy it. I'm really happy to have gone back to the first book a lot of years later and re-listen to it and knowing what happens in book 2 and book 3, so like knowing where the story goes from here, and it's very delightful. Eyes enjoys it. Also crazy. It's because you're yawning, so I'm trying not to yawn back at you.
I'm trying to resist.
Oh, goodness gracious. On the bright side, it's your turn to talk books.
Okay, well, I am still reading Soulless, which is the first book in the Parasol Protectorate series, and it is a paranormal mystery romance set in sort of steampunky Victorian England.
And you accuse me of using all the words.
It does a lot of things. But this is my comfort zone. This is a reread for me. I first read this series at least 7 or 8 years ago because it was before I moved out of my parents' house. So, and that's at least 7 years ago. Which means I don't really remember what happens. I remembered that it was a mystery. I don't remember the solution to the mystery.
Hey, that's
I remember the romance and roughly how that plays out, but I completely forgot about the amazing character that is the main character's best friend. Her vampire best friend as opposed to her human best friend.
Yeah.
But he is the dandiest vampire in existence, and I forgot that this character was in this book. And he is so wonderful. Like, he comes in dressed like a sunset, and he's like, darling, you simply must tell me what happened at the ball last night.
Yep.
Yeah.
How?
So,
How?
I don't know.
All right.
And it's slowly coming back to me. I remember in a later book, he's got actually like a pretty tragic arc of his own, and it's okay, I remember things now.
You remember things now?
I remember he has a sad part in a later book.
Oh, you're gonna have to read the later books.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's that one. Oh, I'm listening to Sapiens still.
Yeah.
Everything's made up and the points don't matter.
Everything's made up. The points don't matter, and all hail the potato overlord.
Yeah, plants domesticated us. We did not domesticate them. That was backwards. It's a fascinating look at human history from like the beginning of being able to call us humans. So it's really cool.
It's a very well done nonfiction book about the history of humankind. I totally understand why it's been a bestseller for so long now. It's really well done. So good.
And then the other thing that I picked up for a book club that is happening later this month is the 5th season by N.K. Jemisin, which will be my second N.K. Jemisin book that I've ever read. Really enjoy her writing style and how she writes about very strange things in a very understandable way. So I don't understand this world and what's going on in this world, but for each scene that we're in, I understand what's going on individually in the scene, but the world building is just like, this is such a strange place that I don't have any anchor for because it's completely different from everything I've ever read.
I love N.K. Jemisin. She's a very good writer.
Like, there's a magic system, I think. It could be some kind of weird science. I still haven't decided if this is some alien planet or if this is supposed to be like Earth in a few thousand years. I don't know.
Well, I suppose you'll find out eventually.
But the world is ending. We've very clearly established this from page 1.
Good.
And so now we're just following some characters as the world ends, and we're just building this world that is ending, and
You started it.
I don't know to what end we are ending the world, but I am into it. I'm very much enjoying it. I'm reading that one as an ebook because the holds on the audiobooks are going to be like 16 weeks. And the book club is this month. So ebook is not my favorite format, but despite that, I am actually plowing through it rather quickly because it's on my phone. And so rather than doom scrolling social media, I've been pulling up the book instead.
Which is probably a lot healthier for you.
So much healthier. I'm wasting just as much time, but it's a lot healthier mentally.
Okay, good.
To read about the end of the fictional world instead of the real one in which we live.
Instead of the doom scrolling and social media crazy.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. On the bright side, that means we're done.
Oh,
so
good.
I can do a sign off and send Diana to bed.
Yeah.
So until next week, I'll say I'm Jocelyn.
And I'm Diana.
And no matter where your week takes you,
Don't forget to knit.